Nation. It's a kind of a family. Wherever I roam, up and way home, that's where I long to be. I'm a member of a Red Sox Nation. It's a kind of insanity. Yeah, I live and die with Red Sox pride for eternity. I fake a smile November until opening day. Suffering baseball withdrawal around the clock. When April comes, hey, meet me down on Yankee Way. That's when Red Sox Nation starts to rock. I'm a member of the Red Sox Nation. It's a kind of a family. Wherever I roam, up and way home, that's where I long to be. I'm a member of the Red Sox Nation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the Avid Boston Podcast, presented by AVIDBOSTON.com. The Boston Red Sox have wrapped up a series with the Toronto Blue Jays. Red Sox win 2 out of 3 of those games, thanks to a win today on Mother's Day. Drew Pomeranz got the start. Gave up 3 earned runs, only lasted, I think, 4 1/3, and then the bullpen took over and did not give up a single run, which was a pleasant surprise given the past week anyway. For those of you up late joining us on Periscope, this episode can be found probably within 30 minutes of the conclusion of this broadcast on SoundCloud, and then will be up on iTunes probably by your AM commute. So, without further ado, we actually have a new permanent co-host to the Avid Boston Podcast after a couple week process. So I'd like to welcome David. I'm going to botch it. Go ahead. You say it, David.
I'm going to let you struggle with it. All right. David Kwiatkowski.
Kwiatkowski. There we go.
Close enough. You almost got there.
Yeah. I'll be used to it probably by the next episode. But welcome to the podcast. And like 3 weeks ago, did you ever imagine you would be co-hosting a podcast?
No shot. I mean, when I saw your tweet come across, my dad and brother actually shouted it out to me because they follow you. And I was just like, oh, wow, I never even saw this. Why don't you guys tell me about this earlier? So I followed you and I threw an email together quick, just figured, I'll give it a shot. And you got back to me right away. And you were like, well, I get this questionnaire and stuff like that. So I filled it out. It was like 18 paragraphs long. So I figured you couldn't say no to me at that point.
Yeah, well, the ones that got through to the second round were the ones that were definitely the most thorough. And if anybody was wondering, there was 40 people who initially inquired, and then of that 40, about 14 went to the second round, which is where I had everybody basically do a live stream, something like what I would do over the winter, where I wouldn't actually do a formal podcast. I called it a quick cast, which would last usually anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. So basically a similar format to that. And from there, David was one of 4 remaining applicants left, and then last night we interviewed the 4, and Chris Saunders, who will be coming on in just a second, kind of sat through it with me to evaluate, and then we went with David. So welcome to the podcast, and it's going to be an interesting season, probably a roller coaster season by the time it's over, but I just can't really think of any team to have much more fun covering, week in and week out.
No, I can't wait. Thanks for having me, and I'm really excited to be on top of it. And yeah, like you said, the Sox team is going to be silly sometimes. You're going to be games against the Yankees are going to be ridiculous. They're going to be 6 hours long again. There's going to be some hate going on. We're going to blow games against teams that we shouldn't blow, and then we'll go on a nice 9-game winning streak in the middle of like August. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably be some suspensions with those Yankee games at the rate we're going.
Oh, I'm sure. I hope so.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, also joining us, as I alluded to, is Chris Saunders. You can find him on Twitter at @smoke_Saunders. He does play-by-play for the Northeast Sports Network and also does play-by-play for the Bristol Blues and the FCBO. Chris, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah, and we just faced you guys last week, and then you guys just faced our upcoming opponents as the Oakland A's kind of make their way through an East Coast swing. So we'll definitely be talking some Red Sox A's coming up here. But Dave, so we'll actually start with you. The Red Sox, as I mentioned in the opening, took 2 out of 3 against the Toronto Blue Jays. And, you know, going into the series, I guess if you were going to say we're going to take 2 out of 3, we're going to be happy with that, especially with their ability to score runs. They have a pretty potent offense, but I don't think it went the way we thought it was going to go. You know, when Chris Sale strikes out 15 guys, should be an automatic win, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be. But then you remember that you got Chris Sale in, you know, early of the season for the Red Sox, and his career numbers the last couple of years have been just bad luck. He just crushes it during this time. We just give him no run support and no luck. Sale, you know, he pitched really well. He gave up, one bad, you know, late after retiring 15 in a row. He gave up 1 bad pitch for the homer. But like you said, I'm pumped that we got 2 out of 3, especially after the Yankee series. You know, Chris knows all about that. We struggled there. But, you know, it wasn't a pretty pitching performance out of David Price or out of Drew Pomeranz today at all. The bullpen really picked up the slack, I think, in this series and really turned it around.
Yeah, and I've been a little easier on the bullpen, I guess I'll say, because that Yankees lineup, as Chris witnesses firsthand on a daily basis, can destroy any rotation, any lineup, you know, on a given day. And I just thought, you know, they were holding their own, you know, before that series. And I know, you know, we did lose game 1 against Toronto in extra innings, but I just feel like there's a lot of potential in that bullpen, and especially with Carson Smith. He got off to a shaky start, but I think he's trending the right way. And
oh, he's great. I love him. He's nails, that guy.
Yeah, and if he was going to struggle in Boston, he'd probably be going the other way by now. So the fact that he's grinding it out and putting together some good performances, that tells me that if he's not the 8-inning guy right now, automatically he should be, you know, going forward.
Yeah, between him and Joe Kelly, who I believe Joe Kelly got the save today, which was interesting to see, as always, when you see Joe out there in the 9th.
So he was brought out in the 9th inning?
Yeah, I believe so. I was Mother's Day, so I wasn't glued to the TV, sadly. But, you know, going through, happy Mother's Day. Any Mother's Day. Great, you know, great day. Yeah, Joe Kelly, he was out there for the save. He did his little handshake with Vasquez at the end. He had a, you know, pretty easy inning as well. So I agree. I think Carson Smith, Kelly, 7th, 8th inning guys right now, no particular order. And I'm just really pumped for Tyler Thornburg. I'm ready for him to go up the pike and get out of Pawtucket.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been waiting for that for quite a while. You know, we gave up Travis Shaw. We gave up a 3,100 guy for him. And,
yeah.
You know, so hopefully we can I think we have Thornburg for this year and then next year as well, which could be convenient if we don't sign Kimbrel, which I don't really expect to at this point. But the game 2 of this series, all eyes were kind of on them. I was unfortunately at work. This is like the least baseball I've seen of any series this year, just because of the way the cookie crumbled, you know, a few of the days. But I was able to listen to some of it on the radio, and I especially when he got out of that bases loaded jam. But What were your expectations given probably one of the most controversial weeks of his career? What did you expect out of him on Saturday?
I expected him to come out and pitch good against a struggling lineup that in a great place for him. He's like 7-0 in his last 7 starts in Rogers Arena, 10-0 in his last 10 starts, something like that. He's been unbelievable in Rogers Arena. He was great when he was there. And if he truly does have this carpal tunnel, tingling sensation, then rest is the best thing for him. He had a ton of rest. They skipped his rotation. He said he didn't go on the DL. They didn't put him on the DL. So I expected him to come out and throw similar to what he did. The velocity was up there. He got to 94, I believe 95 a couple times. And then, I didn't love that he threw 100 pitches in 5 1/3. It looked like he was struggling a little bit finding the strike zone, admittedly. He looked good for a second. He struck out the side in the second inning, and I was like, all right, here we go. He's going to turn in 6-7 innings, solid, 90, 100 pitches. But I'm happy Cora got him out when he did. I like that Cora's going back to sticking to his 100-pitch limit estimation around it. Sale went over, but he was pitching lights out. Price yesterday, around 100. Pomeranz today. Once he hit 100, he was struggling. He threw another, 100 pitches in 3 innings. But, yeah, I expected Price to come out and pitch 6-7 innings, 1 or 2 runs. So kind of close, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess so. I mean, I had much lower expectations. I mean, he'd been struggling, and I mean, to me, it seems like he's a raging head case, and I didn't really expect a whole lot out of him. I figured he would have a short leash if things did not go well, because I did hear Cora say that there was a plan in place if he was struggling physically.
Yeah, it was Velasquez out of the pen.
That's what
starting. That's why I didn't use him for a couple days in a row there.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I assumed. I would much rather have him than Johnson against a lineup like that. But
yeah, Velasquez, when he's on, he's really on.
Right, exactly. So, Chris, from the outside looking in, I'm sure you guys love you some good Red Sox drama. What was your outside take on the whole Price controversy?
I mean, to be honest with you, when I first heard the news that Price was skipping his start against the Yankees, I mean, to be honest with you guys, I thought he was being a pansy. To be honest with you, I didn't think he didn't want to get his brains beaten in, because he doesn't pitch well against the Yankees in general, but especially in Yankee Stadium, for some odd reason, his ERA is above 7. So if he wants to skip his start, by all means, skip it. I mean, Erod, and I know, Terry, you said this earlier, he actually pitched better than probably Price would have in his spot. So I think Erod showed a lot of guts, a lot of guile, especially coming back after that rain delay. And as an outsider looking in, I think if you're a Red Sox fan, I know Erod is the same way as, a Yankee fan looking at Tanaka. You flip a coin. Heads, he's great. Tails, he's terrible. But if Erod can be that guy for you, that I think helps you when you look at Sale. If Pomeranz can get out of whatever he's going through right now, because I was watching a little bit of the Red Sox game, not much of it, because obviously the Yankees were in a rain delay, so I had to watch something in the meantime. And I kept hearing O'Brien say, Pomeranz is only throwing 89, he's throwing 88. This is a guy who typically throws in the low to mid-90s on a good day, and he's been throwing 88 to 89. So is it physical? Is it mental? What's going on with Pomeranz? You got to figure that out.
Or did you mean Price just there?
Well, Price too, but also Pomeranz.
Oh, okay.
Both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, Pomeranz coming. He did this when we acquired him at the end of the season a couple of years ago, where he was tailed out because of fatigue. I think it's just his arm's not ready yet physically to get back to start hucking it 93, and I think he's just kind of easing into it. That's what I think. I think he's using these spring training starts right now, to be honest. But I agree 100% with the Tanaka-Erod thing, because when Tanaka's on, he looks great. But when he's off, he's terrible. And Erod's the same way. He'll give up 6 runs, and his ERA will spike to 5, but then he'll go to New York, shut him down, then it's back to 3.8.
The Jekyll and Hyde situation with him.
Yeah, I guess
100%, and every time.
I didn't realize his velocity was down that low for Pomeranz. I mean, but one of his bread and butter pitches is his knuckle curve, and you know,